Hello there everybody, thanks for clicking on my YouTube video today, and I hope you like what you see. Today this is the first in a series of wildlife watching videos. I've been putting my videos online for quite a while, and people really like to see the nature around them, but I get varying comments. The first one being, I'd love to use a camera but they're far too complicated. The second one is, I wouldn't know where to place it to get wildlife. I don't know anything about wildlife watching. And that's a shame, because anyone who does wildlife watching knows the benefits of being out there and just being in the woods and spending time out there. So I thought let's do something about that. So this is going to be a series of videos, and this channel is going to be dedicated to watching wildlife, survival, bushcraft, you name it. My background is I was an outdoor pursuits instructor. I was a canoe instructor, climbing instructor, mountaineering, archery, caving. I worked for various centres throughout the UK, national outdoor centres, and I then worked in the Forest of Dean, where I live now and where I do most of my wildlife watching. And I then started my own business and ran a survival school. In the survival school we taught survival, bushcraft, food foraging, wild medicine, expedition first aid. I'm a first aid instructor as well, and many things. So hopefully as we grow and as people comment and what they would like to see, we'll make more and more videos. And share ideas. That's what I'd like to build, as a community of people who are like-minded, who do it, tips, tricks. The word expert makes me cringe, because you're always learning, always learning. It doesn't matter how much you know, there's always more to learn, so we can learn from each other. So the first video will be unboxing, getting it started, things that can go wrong, things that you need to do before you take the camera out into the woods, and then different ways to disguise the camera will be in the next video. How to place it, how to look for wildlife, what signs there might be in the area that there's wildlife around, and take it from there and build and build and build. And then we'll look at building hides, how to track wildlife. One of the courses that we used to teach animal tracking, and we also taught photographers how to go out and find wildlife, so we can share that knowledge with you as well. So today I'm going to be looking at the camera that I use. I use wildlife cameras. I've been using these cameras for quite a while. They've gradually got better, so the megapixels have come up. That's a really good thing, and the price has also come down. I suppose as they get better and they refine it, it's good. So the camera I'm going to review today, and what I'll do is at the end of this video I'll put a couple of clips that I've already taken with this camera, just to show you the quality. Very, very good quality. Works in all lights, low light, nighttime. Works really well. So here we go, let's get started, and I'll just show you. Most cameras are the same. You might have to think, I do not get sponsored for this. I am not making any money from this video, but I do like the Apeman stuff. I have all my cameras are Apeman. Especially I've now started to use their little what they call adventure sort of GoPro cameras. They shoot in 4K, really good quality. So I'll post there's a video online of that, you can see. So here we go, £63. I remember when, there are many cameras on the market, but 63 quid, you can't go wrong. I've had one camera from Apeman that didn't work. I contacted them, I sent them an email, and they sent me a new camera the very next day. So I've never ever had a problem with them. So taking it out of the box, you get various things. Of course, you get a strap to attach it to the tree, a little gimbal that if you wanted to attach it to a fence or a post or wherever, and you get a lead to attach it to your computer, and you get the camera itself. Now the camera itself, let's have a look at it. Nice robust cover, good waterproof seal in these cameras. A problem with wildlife cameras is that if they get rained on a lot, the water gets inside. I've never had a camera fail due to water loss or getting in, so it's a pretty tough camera. Opening, so you have there your case, nice camouflage, good for hiding in the woods. And then inside you have the camera itself and all the different things. So when people think that they're complicated, they're really not. I'll take you through what the different bits do. This here is this little group of LEDs. They provide the light at night, okay, so that's your infrared. They glow and allow the camera to activate. So you do get a glow of these cameras, so when you position them, just be careful, people can't see that glow at times. Some are dark glow. This little blue button, it will flash blue. That tells you that the motion's working. This is the main camera lens itself, so it looks tiny, but it has a really good field of view. Will capture up to about 65 feet away, and this just tells you that the camera's working. You have a little screen here that serves it allows you to find how to operate the camera, so you'll get your services on there, and then down there that's your PIR sensor. Okay, so that basically is the trigger, so when it feels either heat or motion, it switches the camera on and will capture it. So let's get started on how do you actually use a camera. So we've got the camera, let's get started. However, we need to add two things. First of all, we need to add an SD card, and we need that's going to record and store our photographs, and we're going to have to add some batteries. On these, simply turn them upside down, and there's a little pocket, and that's where your batteries go. I've already got the batteries in here. So 4 slots holding 2 each. This camera will actually run just off 4 batteries. Most wildlife cameras will run just off 4 cameras. So if I was trying to get the shot of tittles tonight in my garden and just was going to leave it out for a short period of time, 4 is absolutely fine. However, I tend to leave my cameras out for months at a time, so it will last ages. It's very rare that you run out a set of batteries, so I've had them out for 5 months and came back. The batteries were low, but the camera was still working. What batteries to use? I tend to use an industrial battery, so ProCell are a good battery. I've never had problems with them. Duracell Industrial are also a good battery. You want something that's going to be a long-living battery. I really like the ProCells and the Duracell Industrials. They last for ages. They're not expensive. I think I buy 50 at a time, pay about 20 quid for them. So always good to have spare batteries with you when if you're thinking of just taking your car, taking it out and replacing. You know, if you're just going to check it and you find that there's a problem, but I don't tend to find problems with them. So you're going to put 8 in. Now the nice thing about these cameras is that the battery housing is on the bottom. What does that mean? Well, it means that the camera sits like that. Any water is going to run past it, and that allows us to keep working. Rain is a real problem with trail cameras in general. They do ingress water at times. This I've never had a problem with, or the other trail cameras, and we have had some crazy weather. So it's good to have a long-lasting device. Then we're going to move on to the SD card itself. So this takes a standard camera SD card. Okay, so you can find lots of videos on SD cards, but I'm going to give you a few tips and tricks and things that I've got wrong in the past. So the first one being, don't mix and match trail cards. Now I have 7 trail cameras. Each one has its own SD card that just stays with that camera. I have found in the past that using them between the cameras causes problems. Sometimes it won't record, but when I find that I just have one SD card for that camera, or maybe sometimes I have had 2 that stay with the same camera and never go on any other device, that gives a lot better results. Nothing worse than going back to your trail camera after 3 months and you put the SD card in your computer to view the shots and it's empty. One of the reasons it can be empty is that the card has been locked. It has a lock function on it, and there's a little slider on the side, and what that does, it allows you to store stuff safely. So if I had something really important on here and I want to definitely not wipe it, I'd lock it off. However, when it's in the lock position, it won't record anything. So I'm going to always make sure that that is in the unlock position. If you want to know what that is on your camera, if you don't remember it after this, there's a lock symbol when it's down. So we want to get it away from the lock symbol. So number seven camera, 32 megabytes. So how much does that hold? Basically, I've had it out for 6 months, and never filled it. Never filled it, and loads of it. You're holding thousands of different. I think the most I've had is 870 different videos. So it's massive. Camera's still running, still recording me. So the last image I had was me walking up to the camera and switching it off. So absolutely loads on there. Same as a micro. Some cameras use these. Like I said, these little micro cards. Some cameras use those. Exactly the same size. This is 32 gig. This is 32 gig. Then when you're finished, you'd slot that into your computer. And if it has a slot for an SD card, most do, and then you could watch it off there. If you don't, you can buy a little card reader like that. It just allows it. Nice thing about this, because I use various cameras, it allows you to take different SD cards. So then what we're going to do, we're going to put it into the camera. The camera's currently on. I've found that for best results, turn your camera off. I'm sure somebody will tell me in the comments why it's best to do that. It's just I've found that if you put your camera on, then put the SD card in, they don't like it. So when you put it in, it goes in, you feel a little bit of resistance, and then you just click it and it holds itself in place. Okay, so now we're ready to go. So rather than just take it out to the woods, I want to test the camera. I don't want to leave the camera out and know it's not working. So I'm going to put it in test position, and I'll run you through how the different features work. So these little buttons, and I've got the screen here that I can read off. So the first one up here is all the different features inside. So press that and it comes up. I can go through them using the up, down, and if I want to select one, I just press the enter button, which is the little bent arrow. So the first one I'm going to look at, the top of the screen, it says mode. What am I going to use the camera for? The camera I'm going to set up, I'll click enter and it gives me 3 options: photo, video, and photo and video. So whatever you're after, I'll take. Now I like wildlife videos. I like to bundle them together, so that's what I'm going to choose, just video. The next option it gives me is, so I've set the video, it now asks me what resolution I want to use. So I click on there and it gives me 3 options, 1080p. So that's quality, okay? The quality of the video that I want to shoot in. What you're watching me in is 1080p, so it's nice, bright, really good clarity, and it's what most social media platforms like you to use. So it also has a choice of 720 and 480. So I'm going to set it to 1080. And there we go, and it comes back all the way to the menu setting. Now the next thing is video length. How long do you want to set it for? This gives you the options of 5-second video, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, or 1 minute, 2 minute, or 5 minutes. 5 minutes is a long time to watch, but if you were putting this in the garden, you wanted to see what your hedgehogs were doing, if you were putting food out and you knew that something was going to come to that food and you want to get a good long video of it, you can then set it as long as possible. If you're using it for security, you absolutely want to use it as long as possible, because then if someone's up to something dodgy, you've more chance of getting it. I find that when I bunch my videos together, 10 seconds allows me, it's a nice, you get a good clear shot of it, but it's not too much for people to watch. So I set to 10 seconds. There you go. The next thing it asks me is PIR sensitivity. So how sensitive do I want the camera to be? I'll click on there. Low, middle or high. If I set on low, it takes quite a lot of movement to make the PIR go off. So if I have the camera out and there's a mouse goes past, I might miss it if it's on low. If it's on middle, which is where I usually keep it, you tend to get nice shots. On high, every time the wind blows and a tree branch moves, you will get shots of a tree branch moving. That's what we call in the game a false trigger. A false trigger is where the camera activates and there's nothing on there. So either it's been too late or something has been in front of the camera, like a blowing branch. So I always put it on middle. I found this camera on middle, it doesn't really go off when the branches shake, which is really good. Tends to be animals that set it off. So I'll put it on there. Other options it comes up with, it has an option to time lapse. So if I want to set this in my garden and take a time lapse sequence, it'll allow me to do that. Language, time and date. Now if I'm using this out in the woods, I'm definitely going to set the time and date. I want to know the patterns of the animals and what they're doing. So if a fox comes through every day at 6 o'clock and I want to go and get a video of that fox, I know the best time to go and get it. I can see what the animals are doing at different times of the day, and it allows me to build up a picture of what's happening in that bit of woodland. So I'm definitely going to set the time and date. To do that, you simply click on it and then you set up each feature and press enter. So there we go, it's all done. I've already done it. Next thing it comes up with temperature. So you can see how animals behave different times of the day, different weathers, different, you know, if they're not active when it's absolutely when the wind's blowing sideways. Beep sound. Okay, this is a really important one if you're setting this camera up. When you're setting the camera up in the woods, it's a stealth operation. You don't want people watching what you're doing. You know, if I'm walking off a path into a bit of trees, I'm going to definitely make sure there's no one watching me or no one around. And I'll go into beep sound to let you hear what it's like normally. So when you're trying to set your camera up in the woods, beep sound is absolutely fine if I'm just doing it here, but when I'm out in the woods, I definitely don't want beep sound on. Okay, because it's amazing how far sound travels. We'll look at that when we're in another video, how far sound travels when you're trying to stalk wildlife. We're going to do videos on actually how to get close to wildlife without, you know, the need for telephoto lenses, how to actually stalk, how to walk quietly. So I'm going to turn that off because sound is our enemy. I don't want anyone to do it. I will, however, put on audio recording. So it gives me that feature. I'm going to turn that on, especially if I'm setting up security. I'm trying to catch somebody who's maybe broke in somewhere. I'd like to hear their voice if possible. That helps to identify them. Then the next feature that's on there is password protection. You can set up a password, so if someone tries to use your camera, if they steal it, they won't be able to use it. However, if they've stolen their camera, they've stolen your camera, and it's no longer useful. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that you guys really know how to set up camera, and hopefully you won't get it stolen. Format memory card is the next option. So that marries my card to the machine and just says, yep, you're the one I want to work in it, and I'll click on there. So when a format says all data will be deleted. Well, that's good because I want a fresh camera. I want a fresh memory card. So I click yes. It says please wait, and then that's it. So, okay, and that's us. So to come out of the menu, click menu, and it goes off. So our camera's ready to go. It's set up. I'll turn it off for a second. So we're not going to go and take it out into the garden. I'm going to set it up. Leave it out there, make sure that when I bring it in tomorrow morning that it's working. I don't want to take a camera out, leave it for 3 months, and it's not working. So it's better to do that little test. Also, it's nice to do it to set things up in the garden. So, like I said, that's perfectly fine. I can attach that to my garden fence. My garden's pretty secure, so it's not going to get nicked. So then when we're out, the other thing that you get with it is this little strap. The strap, of course, allows you to attach it to a tree. It goes through the two little hoops on the back. Now, they are a faff because you're stretching around a tree you can't see, and you're trying to find that, and you want to get it nice and tight, and then when you put these on, they click. Now, I find that, you know, what doesn't really matter what sort of brand you buy, they're a weakness. This plastic strap breaks, so it's also very thick. You're walking past a tree, you're going to notice that straight line in the wild. So I get rid of them. I don't use them. I use something completely different. I use paracord, and this paracord is, if you can see that, nice and speckled. And that speckle is a great little camouflage. It's thin, so from a distance, yeah, it's quite hard to see. So in here, I use that, and I can put it around the tree. I tie a knot in that end, so I've got a loop, and then when I attach it, I can pull that tight. I also put loads on, so if I've got a really wide tree, I can make it work for me, and then I tie it off, and I'm good to go. So that's a very basic setup of a camera. Now we're going to go out into the woods after testing the camera, which I've already done, and we're going to set it up. So my next video, please join me, and we'll take strips and different methods for setting them up in the wild, and hopefully getting the best results, and also not getting the thing nicked. Any comments, leave them below. I'd love to hear any feedback. Welcome to my channel. Thank you.